If you could ask a Muslim Marine anything, what would it be? Mansoor Shams welcomes those questions and willingly answers all of them. He served our country because he truly loves it, but Mansoor has taken on a new mission recently, to dispel Islamophobia and bring people closer together. Assumptions that most Muslims are terrorists who dislike America is an idea that does not sit well with him. Loyalty to one's country is actually part of the Islamic faith and is a reason why Mansoor served as a U.S. Marine for 4 years. His conversations have sparked the interest of many news organizations and people, especially after the recent Muslim travel ban. Mansoor has even walked the streets of Houston, Seattle, Denver, and his hometown of Baltimore with a big sign that reads, "I'm Muslim and a U.S. Marine. Ask anything." I accepted his offer via Skype yesterday and took my turn at asking him anything I wanted. So tell me how this journey of yours started. Like, when did you decide to start sharing your story that was a good idea?
Right. So the MuslimMarine.org website, I started nearly about 2 years ago, almost a little bit over a year and a half. Obviously, it was in response to the situation that was taking place in our nation, where there were these current these tussles, these that were kind of going on back and forth amongst the people of our nation. There were these negative portrayals of people who look like myself, who follow the faith that I have. There was a good friend of mine. I'll say his name, Dr. Fahim Yunus. He belongs to the same community that I belong to, the Ahmadiyya Muslim community. And he really sort of, I would say, pushed me to sort of come out of my comfort zone, almost to the point where he says, look, he's a physician. He also serves as various capacities within the community. That look, you are a Marine, I am a physician. You have something that I don't have, and I think it's important for people to know about it. People like yourselves need to come out of your cave and have this conversation. And so he sort of kind of pushed me, had that conversation, and I decided eventually to start doing something about it. It was a little bit slow, but a little bit, I moved like a little bit of a turtle in the beginning. But then once I, understood how things sort of operated and how things were getting, I found the need to be even more important. So I just kind of started going at it 120 miles per hour.
So if someone knows very little about Islam, how would you describe it, or what are some of your core beliefs?
So Islam it's an amazing faith. It's a weird time, of course, in our history where it's being portrayed as a very negative thing. And the interesting part of it is, for those that are decent people, I think they take the time to investigate instead of just jumping to a conclusion, which is sort of the wrong thing to do, right? I think if someone just tells you something and you just fall for it, that's just pretty terrible. I mean, that shows that you might not have great IQ, I guess. I don't know. But, I mean, I'm not trying to call those sort of people out, but the right thing to always do is that if you are told something, even the Holy Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, peace and blessing of God be upon him, taught that even, let's say, you hear something about someone, right? Mm-hmm. And you have to make a decision. Don't make a decision based off of one person. Make sure you hear the other side of the story.
Right.
So having said that, I think that it's important that people realize that there's another side of the story. I've asked from time to time, like, okay, there's a guy who calls himself ISIS and he claims himself to be a Muslim. Fine, I can't take that away from him, Right. However, there's another guy on this side who claims himself to be a Muslim, and he's a United States Marine. So maybe, just maybe, there may be something we've missed. Maybe we need to work to understand a little bit better, because they're both saying it. This guy is saying he's in the Marine Corps. Mm-hmm. This guy is saying he's ISIS. Mm-hmm. What's going on here?
Right.
So we should try to go figure it out. So what I've done is now, through my website, MuslimMarine.org, I'm constantly trying to grow it, make it better. I have put on a tab there. It's called Learn Islam. And there's 3 links that take you to trueislam.com, elislam.org, and Muhammad Fact Check. A lot of people have questions about Prophet Muhammad. So those 3 links are now on my website, which people can access at their own convenience and get the knowledge that they need.
For sure. People definitely need that knowledge. That's awesome that that's on your website. So,
Yes.
based on the conversations you've had with people regarding your religion, what are some common misperceptions that you've heard?
I think the most common misperception that's out there is, look, I mean, you and I look sort of different. We could agree to that, right?
Yes.
you know, that's the most common misperception. I think that someone that looks like me, I have the tan skin. I think if I didn't have the beard, maybe I'd get away with a few things, But having the beard and the tan skin and the sort of the black hair, I got that sort of Arab look, the typical stereotype of, he must be a terrorist. He must be up to something, and that's sad. I mean, that I have to say that, but
Right.
unfortunately, that does exist. So you could be walking down the street, or you could be at a mall, and that assumption, that sort of mindset might be there, that you may think that guy is that, whatever that is in your head. However, what I remind people is to go get to know one, talk to a Muslim, right? Because inside, or eventually you may come to find out that that guy is a United States Marine,
Right.
and maybe you want to be friends with that guy.
What kind of reactions and conversations have been happening within the Muslim community following the travel ban?
I would not like to make this a political thing,
Mhm.
but there are certain things that have been said by our president, which are very unfortunate. That's the reality of it. Because you see, I can be completely nonpartisan. I'm okay with that.
Yeah.
And what makes it very difficult with our current president is that he literally says things out of his own mouth sometimes, and I can't just say, oh, he didn't say it. He said it.
Right.
For example, all Muslims should be banned from this country, and then when you say things like that, um, then it questions your intentions, right? Because in the first few days of coming into office, you realize that he didn't waste any time. He's sort of keeping with what he had said and what he had started. Sort of this portrayal of Muslims. It's in the Muslim community. I think there's a lot of mixed perceptions. There's the people that are like, I don't care, whatever,
Mhm.
right? There's other people that are like, oh, my uncle was saying to me one day, he's having such a shouldn't even say this, but I'm going to say it. He was saying, my uncle says to me, he's like, I can't wait to wake up every day because there's something new happening.
It's very true. He's right.
He said, I wonder what he's going to do next.
Who knows?
So
You could wake up and something totally different could be happening for sure. I
Yeah,
know.
yeah. So he's very. He was saying, he's Muslim. He has a beard. He looks sort of like me. But that was his sarcasm. But I know that there are other people living in a lot of fear. There's,
sure.
I was imagining the people who were traveling to the U.S. on that day, and their entire livelihood is here. And all of a sudden, you land, and this is not. I mean, how terrible! How,
Yeah.
I mean, that's such a crazy thing, that to happen to anyone. So it's. I find it quite disturbing. I don't think. I think there are a lot of Muslims that are living in fear. To be very honest with you, I think they're very. I think there are probably some people are taking very extreme measures where they're probably shaving off their beard, like, oh man, I got to mix it a little bit more, maybe move to a new town. And it should never be like that.
Right.
Maybe some ladies, maybe even removing their hijab. They're like, okay, if that's what I have to do to get, and that's really, really,
That's so
really sad.
Yeah.
If that needs to happen, because that's exactly what you've done. Going back to the bullying conversation,
Yeah.
that's what bullies do, right? They scare the heck out of you, and then you have to sort of put on a show or act different, and change yourself.
So how are you able to keep this positive attitude when you're being asked questions or when you're interviewed?
I feel like it's sort of a responsibility. I think as time goes on, and as things are coming up, I realize the seriousness of things, and the seriousness of the events that are constantly unraveling in our country. There's every day there's a new thing. It's moving so fast. So my belief is that the only way you can counter the negativity is through positivity. I try to be a follower of my faith as best as I can. Prophet Muhammad taught many things. When you look at his life, if you are a believer of Jesus Christ or Moses, peace be upon them all, what you realize is that these people of nobility constantly went through stages of difficulties where they were put in some of the worst situations. But the reason we look up to them, the reason why they're so special to us, whether that may be Jesus Christ or Moses or Prophet Muhammad, in fact, in Islam, we follow all of them. For me to be a Muslim, in order for me to be a Muslim, I have to accept in Jesus Christ and Prophet Moses. They're extremely special people to us. They're not just regular Joe Schmoes. And what you realize is that their tenacity, their ability to cope with these tough circumstances and keep, their mind very focused and positive, and not allow the negativity to get into them, even react in a bad way. These are the people that we claim to follow. So the best way that I can exercise following these people is through my own actions, right? So that when the going gets tough, right, I try to remind myself, okay, well, they had it a lot worse than I did, and what can I do to maintain that thing? Because that, in fact, is what's amazing. That's what's awesome. That's that's what we remember. That's why we love those people, because we're like, wow, how do they do it? Jesus Christ, peace be upon him. He's getting slapped left and right, and he's keeping. I pray for you.
Yeah.
I mean, imagine that for a second, right?
Right.
So, they don't know. They do not know. Oh, God, forgive them. Prophet Muhammad did the same exact thing. It's in the Quran. It mentions that you were so. They even kicked him out of his city, and they said you were so kind to them that it was your attitude, your behavior, your character, right? So, and now we look up to them, we remember them, and how amazing they were, and we wish we could be a little bit like them, right? And the only way to be a little bit like them is to try. So if somebody gives me a bad look, curses me out, I have to ask myself, come on, I can't take that.
Yeah.
I should be able to take that.
Right.
So I'm trying to sort of, like, I would say, walk the walk a bit, in my life.
Yeah.
And that's how I do it. So I just kind of remind myself of it.
That's really inspiring and makes me want to push forward and be more positive about things. Like, the little things can't get you down. So thank you so much for interviewing with me and for your service and for your positivity. It is really inspiring. So thank you so much.
Very cool, very cool. I hope that you'll take that and you'll go inspire others, and I hope that you will not stop here, but you'll engage others in conversation, because you've had now a direct interaction with someone who's not only a Muslim, but who's a United States Marine. So there's a Pew poll that says that 62% of Americans have never met a Muslim. Now, if 62% have never met a Muslim, imagine how many have met a Muslim Marine. Probably like 1%, okay? So you are one of the few. In the Marine Corps, they say the few, the proud, the Marines. But you're one of the.
I am, for real.
You're one of the few who've had that interaction. So now I think it's an obligation on your side as well to go out and also spread a message of positivity on your side.
I will. Thank you so much. If you would like to see what Mansoor Shams is up to, follow him on Twitter or watch his frequent periscopes at Mansoor T. Shams. Also, you can visit his website, muslimmarine.org, to learn more about Mansoor and other Muslim Marines.